Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to what is round 4 here at Zolder for the World Tour Championship for Pro League Racing here. Quite a cold track here today. It's supposed to get colder apparently here. Currently 14 degrees, but in the free practice server we did see 9 degrees track present. So we could see single figure tracks here. Obviously it is qualifying at the time being 35 minutes, split qualifying between the AMs and the Silvers and the Pro, but it seems it's only a 2 split qualifying here. So I see some people in chat. Welcome on in, Drazen, I think it is. Welcome very much in. This is obviously round 4, but today's is another 60-minute sprint race, but there's a twist. Obviously it's an extremely cold track, but when I was in DMs with I think it's, yeah, Ellis, I think it is. I'm sorry if I got that wrong. He said there was emphasis on the word should be dry. So that leaves some potential on, what's it called? Wet conditions, which, honestly, that could be interesting because a cold track plus wet conditions can lead to, some very catastrophic times, should we say, because, this track, very small track, and I think there's about 40 cars on grid here, 36 cars to be exact. And I think the pace variation is going to be quite a lot tonight because obviously it's a track not many people know, and not many people are strong at it. It's definitely a track that isn't used as much as it used to be since all of the new tracks have been added since 1.7 when this track came about. It's good pronouncing for an Anglo speaker. I'm actually Welsh, so I'm actually a Celtic, if you say it like that, but as we do just see an Aston Martin there going into the wall. That's a very good start there. Obviously that curb there, as you can see there, the chicane of turn 5 is very, very lethal, but you're supposed to take all of the sausage curb that you are able to take, but it's definitely something that can be very sketchy for the front engine cars such as the McLaren, Porsche and other cars, but you're supposed to take as much as you can. Obviously it will unsell the car, and you might have the risk of the old puncture or two. So it's definitely something that you gain a lot of time by doing. And obviously you do have the advantage of gaining, well, hopefully places here. But obviously 3 minutes into qualifying, and we don't see too many people start on the flying lap just yet. Apart from what we will see is Felipe quite soon here in the Vorpal 720S Evo here, going for his first flying lap here at Zolder. Seems to be the first lap to be completed. Seems to be a 1:29.3, which is quite strong for a first lap here, because I was seeing in the practice session the fastest time was a 28 dead, so it's definitely something that will drop down over time, but we'll have to keep an eye out on what the times are doing. But we do see Felipe as on provisional pole for the time being. But we just have to keep watching out. However, we do see, again, Jeffrey Witter is just going into turn 3 now. It's around 5 tenths up on his personal best lap time. This will put him up quite significantly in the orders if he can get this lap time put together here, but we'll have to continue watching him going into the straight before that lethal chicane. The Ferrari is known to be having that quite dodgy suspension, so we'll have to see here. Obviously it does seem he takes a lot of curb there, might be out there on track limits. We'll have to find out. It does seem he's managing to keep the lap time pushing, so I'm going to presume it's still a valid lap time for the time being. Going into the final chicane now. It's actually not, it's the penultimate chicane. Yeah, obviously very easy chicane, very fast and flowing, but if you take too much you will get a track limit warning. Speaking of track limits though, this is a very strict track limit track, so we'll have to continue watching out with that. Obviously drive-throughs have been awarded in the past races, because obviously it was Valencia last race, which is definitely quite a difficult track to now with track limits. Very strict in certain corners and very forgiving in others. So we'll have to continue watching out on what happens here. As we do see Jeffrey Witter though in the 296 coming across the line about a second up on his personal best lap time, will put him up quite a bit in the orders. Goes up, and it does seem it was not a valid lap there. Obviously that chicane did look quite dodgy there, unfortunately. Odds on Dean getting 3 warnings in 1 lap again. So well, poor Dean, as we can see him in the more comeback livery there. Did that happen last race? I didn't see him get one last race. Robert Jennings, so I do know in the FU Racing livery here, does seem, I want to say it's an in-game livery, but I don't know if it is. going in. Obviously, Lambo very good on the brakes. I don't know how well the car behaves in the suspension. It does seem he gets a tiny bit of ping there. It does seem around just a tenth up in his personal best lap time. However, we do see Felipe Morna, once again, our pole sitter, provisionally up 7 tenths here into Sector 3 now. Could definitely see quite a big improvement here. This will put him into the 28 here, which was what we were seeing in free practice. If people were sandbagging, that is something we'll have to take in consideration. Here, nearly around a second up on his personal best lap time here. Might be at the same pace as the pros here, but obviously we are on days a hotter track. As you can see, again, I have not had much sleep. This is the day where I have assessment, so it's not being the most easy of days, but we do go across and see him take back provisional pole now after Robert Jennings did steal it there for a 29.3, but Felipe Morna managed to take it back there as well, 28.7 there, so we'll have to see if these two keep battling, but it seems the gap is quite big between both of them. Valencia. Oh no, speaking of Dean, there he is. Pole being the 27th, I guess. Yeah, oh actually, yeah, that's a true point. I forgot it was green. I was watching a Dean stream actually earlier, and it was a green track. However, it is optimum now, so we could see 26s. 26.7 by Will. Okay, so yeah, it might be quite the difference in pace here, but at the moment it does seem. But with Darko here in Yasumoto around 6 tenths up right now, nearly 7 tenths up going into the final chicane here. Zolder does seem, he does lose a tiny bit of time there somehow under braking. To brake a tiny bit earlier, it seems, goes across the line, still stable, 6 tenths up. His personal best lap time will put him up quite a few positions there, going up into P6 there. For Darko, we'll have to go up further in the order. As we do see though, a car we did see quite a few times during the last race. Our camera is absolutely shocking here in the E3 racing. Around 4 tenths up in his personal best lap time could put some risk there on Felipe there. Of course, 28 minutes left of qualifying, but I think there's still 14 or so minutes left of AMS qualifying, so we'll have to continue watching how these goes. Let's see, 3,000 seconds slower than Felipe Morna for the time being, as we do see them. Anthony Fox also going across the line here, does just manage to go 4 tenths quicker, and does put him into the 5 tenths ground here territory of risk of the pole position for now, as it does seem it's still quite a big gap between those 4, but I reckon it will go down, decrease quite a bit. Bentley needs 100k. Yeah, obviously there is the ACC bop now. The LFM bop has been taking off for this, well, the foreseeable future. How long that will be, we don't know yet. But 26.9 is possible. I need to catch up a chat. Oh, on my lightweight Lexus. Is the Lexus being killed already? No. 8 minutes of them. Yeah, I can do maths. Oh, actually, yeah, it does say that on the notes. Okay, whoops, that was my fault. I keep getting this mixed up with another league I do. Vil needs a ballast, not the Bentley. After seeing his performance last race, yeah, I do agree with that. But I was doing a pit school commentary on the weekend there, and the Bentley was quite the marginal bit faster, so it's definitely a car that is back. The Boatley, obviously, car that isn't supposedly very good in suspension. However, we do see now again Jeffrey Whitlock coming across the line here, 3 tenths up. Is it going to be any sort of improvement for him going across the line there? It does seem it's an invalid lap time there. Doesn't actually, no, it wasn't an invalid lap time. It's just very close between him and P6 of Darky there, so we'll have to again keep an eye out on those two, as it seems we do see packs of cars very close to each other, as we do see Itri is still trying to improve to get pole position for the AMS provisionally. Around 6 minutes or so left of... Just went really scouse then. Keep an eye on Conrad in the cup. British Kane. Seattle Airlines incoming. I reckon after seeing... I was so tempted to put on my Twitter post, but I have to try to keep my Twitter professional. I was so tempted to put the picture you sent in the World Talk chat as the thumbnail for my Twitter post, but I was like, maybe I shouldn't do that. I'll probably just use the branding instead. But I wish I would put it on stream as well, but I don't think That would go down too well. Porsche Cup isn't a monster truck. The Porsche Cup isn't great anymore, in my opinion. It's quite a difficult car to somehow. We have just seen Felipe Morna just go for the fastest lap time here. 1:28.6, we're getting closer down into the mid 28s here now, so we'll have to see if he can go down quicker. He doesn't have too much time left of qualification, so we do see a few amps are in the pits now. Well, I mean a few, I mean one, but we did see Morna just go out of the pit, probably for fuel and probably new fresh set of tyres here. Track temp is going up a tiny bit. It's not too much, but it's still probably going to be enough to try set some nicer lap times here. Morna is getting his pace back quickly. Morna seems to be quite quick here. I assume he took quite a big break if you're saying getting his pace back quickly. So might have to see him going to Silver soon, possibly, depending on what Silver's times are. It is, but the suspension is so bugged, it just bounces forever. I assume that's the Porsche, but obviously we had that issue with the Ferrari as well, but I think that's been fixed. I'm a McLaren user by heart, so I don't even... I just got very lucky when the 720S Evo came out. I didn't automatically switch to that car because it was a overpowered car. It's just luck in my size because I just always drive the McLarens. If we do see Jeffrey Witter, oh my days, names are going out of the window again. About 4 attempts up on his personal best lap time. This will be enough to try get him into P4 here. Will he be able to materialise the lap time here? Does he gain quite a bit of time going into the final chicane there? Loses a tiny bit on the exit there. Goes across the line now, and we do see him set a what seems to be a 1:28.8. So he is also another car into the 28s now, which is good to see. So we'll just have to continue seeing what happens with these two cars, because they are obviously quite close here between these two, or even these three from P2 to P4, just around 2 tenths between them both. So we'll have to continue again seeing what these three do. Obviously not too much time left of qualification between these three, so 3 minutes or so. But the Ferrari is alright now. Cup car is even worse. And the 488 the 488 was always bad though, to be honest. It's overpowered in iRacing. Seems to not be very good nowadays though. I've got a 5-day week of broadcasting this week, so I reckon my voice has got to feel it on race 5. Have a great race, everyone. Hopefully you have a good race too if you are racing. Alexander, I'm going to say that is. I probably bowled that. Sorry if I have. Assuming he isn't racing after Ben Crick said that. We do just see though, Craig Sweeney is the only car improving at the time being, going across into the final parts of Sector 2 now. Going across this final chicane of Sector 2. We do see him around 4 tenths up on his personal best lap time. Will probably be enough to fight with Darko for P7 here in qualifying. Obviously it's only qualifying, so anything can happen during the races. We have seen in previous races here. Going into the final hairpin, you want to get all of the inside line to try get the car to drag through, and it does seem he misses a tiny bit there. He's losing a tiny bit of time. In fact, he lost quite a bit of time. They're losing about 3 tenths there going into the hairpin, but now it does seem, will he try and gain back any time here going into the chicane? He loses quite a bit of the time on the entrance there. However, is he going to gain it back on the exit? It seems he does gain quite a bit of time there back on the exit, but it's not going to be enough to improve into P7. We'll have to try again in another time. Obviously 1 minute left qualifying here for the AMS, as we do see though. We actually do see George here in the Audi R8 does just go quite a bit faster there for himself. 4 tenths up, goes up to settle 1:31.1 here for the AMS times. Oh yeah, everything has changed. I assume you played since 1.9 has been updated. Otherwise, yeah, you've got a lot to learn back. As we do see Felipe, though, going faster once again. Could get himself into the mid-28 here. Going on to the final lap. Goes very wide down to the gravel. Not going to gain him any time there. In fact, losing all of his time now going onto the straight before the chicane. Is he going to try do any sort of magical appearance here going into the chicane? Misses quite a bit of the inside part of the chicane. Is down on his time. However, he gained a tiny bit of his time back there. Going on the exit of the chicane, as we do see him about 3,000th of a second up. So this could be enough to try get himself into the mid-28 here. So we do have to just see if he can get any sort of time here going in. He does lose quite a bit of time there going on the fast right-hander. If we're going into Sector 3 now, we have to just witness to see if he can actually do anything. As we do see Anthony Fox as well, just behind, about 4 attempts up on his personal best lap time. Losing a tiny bit going into the chicane. Gains quite a bit. No, that's not even the chicane, I apologise. That's the hairpin now going into the last part of Sector 3 here, the final chicane. Do you see him losing quite a bit of time there? Obviously, not a lot of people are taking the inside of the hairpin there. That's what does gain you quite a bit of time there. 2.5-ish tenths up on his personal best lap time now. Is it going to be enough? It's going to be enough for provisional P2 here for Anthony Fox. Quite a big leap there for him, but it's not going to be enough to try and take away the crown here from Felipe Morna of a 28.6-ish. So obviously the AMs are done, and we do see the hounds have been let out. The silvers and the pros all are out on track here. Quite a few cars, around 26 cars, so there's quite a big difference in amount of cars here between the silver slash pro slash the against the AM. So we'll have to continue seeing what these cars do in pace wise. Obviously they're going to have a lot more risk here. Yes, we do see. I've just realised there is a Porsche Cup in here. I should have known that because we were talking about it, but that's a brave man. You have to just see though, this is where everyone's going to be a lot more riskier, a lot more cars out on track, so this could be a higher risk for some people losing their lap times. We do see this huge crowd of cars again. This is what usually happens. We do just see everyone trying to gain a bit of time between each other, and we do just see everyone starts their flying laps as we go on board now with Bella, a car that was in last race and did alright in the last race as well in the McQueen livery. Going into the end of Sector 2 here, about 9 tenths up now going into the second part of chicane here. We do see them just go a tiny bit wide. That's going to lose him quite a bit of time. Do you just see them going into the final hairpin here? This is where you want to take the inside line, as you will probably see. Seems he managed to do it quite well there. Loses a tiny bit of time there. No, unfortunately, going into the final few corners here at Zolder. Does seem he is going to gain quite a bit of time there, about a second up in his personal best lap time. This will be enough for provisional pole, possibly. However, we do see another driver as well that we'll just go see in a minute, who is also improving quite a bit, as we do see, as who I was just talking about, Alexander, the car that we were just seeing out earlier was about 1.8 seconds up on his personal best lap time, goes into 28.4. However, we do just see Vil, a car who people want bopped with 100 kg of ballast, so at a 27.9 there on their first lap. So we'll have to continue seeing if he can improve. I reckon he can improve, as he is improving now, about 2 tenths up on his personal best lap time here going into the first part of Sector 1. We do see him though in the Ted in a Bentley livery. Going into Sector 2 now, approaching the chicane that apparently the Bentley's very good at. Obviously can eat a lot of that curb. Do you just see him though? Does take quite a bit of curb there. You do see him going flying quite a bit there, but gained quite a bit of time there. About a tenth just going through the chicane here. Obviously there's quite a big gap there between P1 and P2. About 5.5 tenths roughly between them both. So we'll have to keep an eye out if they can actually keep it down. However, this could actually increase quite a bit here, as we do see Freddie also improve quite a bit there on his personal best lap time. Just going into a 28 dead. So we'll have to continue seeing what all of these cars can actually do. And I know I repeat saying that We'll have to... Conrad not messing about, is he? No, he definitely isn't. That's not Conrad. Whoops. Porsche Motorsports car. Obviously, the Porsche Cup car is quite a good car. But obviously, around Zolder, I reckon it's got some issues, to say the least. It's good to see the Porsche Cup cars actually being used, though. It's not very often you see them. However, we do see... But once again, about 2.5 tenths up on the personal best lap time. However, we do see Freddie, though, as well, entering Sector 3 now. About, lost quite a bit of time there into the final part of Sector 2. We have just seen, though, Vil once again further improving his lap time into a 27.555. However, we also do see Adam Long in the R8 just trying to put some pressure there on Vil with 7,000 seconds between them both. Have to keep an eye out once again on another set of cars. Going further down, Greg Ellis in the PLR Esports car. Quite a very nice looking livery there, actually. Going into Sector 3 now, obviously has this very tight hairpin to try now. But now going up into the 3/10. Oh, losing quite a bit of time there on the exit there, so we'll have to see going through the final chicane if Greg can actually improve his time at all going in. It does seem he does break a bit later there, but loses quite a bit of time on the exit there. Does seem that losing quite a bit of time there on the exit as well. Not getting the traction. Still about 2.5 tenths up. Going to be enough for P6 provisionally. As it does seem cars are scattered around. We do see the AMs and the Silvers and the Pros all together. And we do see Dean in the Lexus. About a 10th up on his personal best lap time so far. However, we also do see Daniel Montero in the BBS livery going through the final chicane here. 7 tenths up on his personal best lap time. This will be enough for quite a significant improvement if you can get it done. Obviously, the Porsche, as I was saying earlier, not the greatest car around a few of these tracks. It's going to be enough, as we have just seen an improvement from another driver. This is going to be enough for P9 with a 28.290. Very good time there, as we have just seen Ben Crook steal that lap time there from Vil, and now 2 tenths between them both. These two Bentleys need to be balanced, even though Ben Crook said Vil needs to be balanced. 127.3 here from Ben Crook, but he is also improving, not too much yet, but still quite a bit. About a tenth now going into the first chicane. Does seem he is also still improving just the slightest part, so we'll have to continue on board with this car to see if we can see any sort of issue here. Going through the second chicane, it seems to take it nice. However, it does seem he might have the threat of traffic during this lap. 2.5 tenths up to 3 tenths here going into Sector 3. It does seem he is going to improve. However, we do see the Aston Martin go out of the way. That's going to help Ben Crook out a lot. Going through that awful hairpin now going into turn 9, and it does seem he is going to go on the straight, lose a tiny bit of time, but it's not too much time to worry about on the Delta, as it does seem coming into the final chicane now. He is going to just stay on the edge of the traction there. Does lose a tiny bit of time there in selling the car, but still got to increase the gap quite significantly between him and Vil there, with a 3/10 gap between them both now of a 27.2. However, he is once again improving, so he definitely has some more potential in the time there. However, do we see Vil also trying to put some threat there on Ben Crook or other drivers as well? So we do see Robert Alavi as well in the McLaren. What just fell? Give me a minute. I've just heard something in my room fall over, and I think my room's ghosted. There's a ghost in my room. That's another issue. Robert, though, does seem, unfortunately, going into the wall there, just getting a tiny bit of an unsettlement, and the car going off the apex a tiny bit, going onto the grass. Fortunately, losing the suspension of his McLaren, unfortunately, losing his lap time. However, we do see Vil, though, trying to put once again some pressure there on Ben Crook. However, it is now, tables have turned here between these both. About 2 tenths up here for Vil. This is going to leave these two again very close up in the orders between them both. We did see an extremely close qualifying session last time for the podium. I think it was Dean and Vil were about 5,000 of a second between each other, which is immense to see, to say the least, as it does seem now coming into the final chicane. We do see him just improve quite a bit of time there going in. Now it does seem he is going to lose a tiny bit of time. They're taking too much apex there on the inside. It does seem he's going to lose a tiny bit of time. It's not going to be too much time, but it's still going to be quite the marginal gap between him and Ben Crick there. About 2/10 between them both. Can he still try to lose a tiny bit of that lap time? It does seem he is going to gain quite a bit, and we just want that gap to go down between Ben and Vil here to hopefully lead to some more close racing, as we have seen before. Obviously now about a 10th up. He is still improving quite a lot there going into turn 3. Goes on the gravel there, which isn't going to help him at all. It does seem he is going to lose all of his time there going into the chicane, which isn't going to help him at all. However, we do see Philip once again in the McLaren, who we saw earlier, unfortunately, who stacked it about a 10.5 up on the personal best lap time here. Going to be enough for quite the improvement here, going up into what seems to not be a position at all, because it seems it was an invalid lap time, but wasn't invalid on my race control here. And we do see Bella once again in the McQueen McLaren going into the first chicane, obviously the most lethal chicane, trying to take as much as the inside part of the curb on the outside. On the outside curb there. It does seem though she's going to intersect. Oh, it seemed like taking a tiny bit too much there from the Ferrari behind, but it does seem Bella is still valid here. This will be enough for quite the improvement here up to P5 if this lap time can be materialised. However, we do see her losing quite a bit of time there. Does seem he's going to lose quite a bit of lap time still on the Delta, but it seems, can he do anything going into chicane here? It does seem he is going to lose a tiny bit of time there, but gained a lot of it back on the exit, and it seems he's got to go across the line here to take on P6 provisionally. However, we do still see 8 minutes left as he goes across, pulls over to try get some new tyres here. However, we do see Vil is matching his lap time right now, not a lot between them both. However, we have just seen Vil take pole position provisionally here from Ben Crook of a 26.8, so there is going to be some fighting between these two, I say, and it does seem Vil is going to be comfortably in the pole position for the time being. However, unless we can see some sort of lap time here from Ben Crook or any other driver who is definitely capable of the lap time. Go further down there, we do see Ivo in that Mercedes. Quite good to see a Mercedes still in this. Obviously the front engine car is going to help him quite a bit here. Probably not the easiest car to handle though. However, going into the second chicane, about 2.5 top on his personal best lap time will be quite the improvement if he can get this lap time done. All you need is 2.5 tenths to get up into around P9, P10 wise, which is quite the improvement from P17. Does seem though going into the hairpin, trying to take all of that inside curb for the camber. It does seem though losing a tiny bit of time, but it's not going to be too much time, so we'll have to continue and just watch in suspense to see if he can actually make this lap time happen. It seems he loses quite a bit of time there going into the straight. However, we do have this huge chicane for him to try now for. It does seem he does gain around the 10th, which will be enough for what seems to be P13, so just losing a tiny bit of time there, but it seems P10 to P12 are very, very close in lap time, so we have to see if Dean will keep that P12 or lose or gain any positions there. However, we do see Vil again improving once again, 1.5 tenths so far going into the sector 3 now. Do see him losing all of his lap time though going into that curb. Sorry, he kind of unsettled the car a tiny bit there, which isn't going to help him. As we do see Ben Crook as well improving, but it's not 3.5 tenths of improvement yet. It does seem he is just going into, I think that's sector, no, that's sector 1. But it does seem he's losing all of that lap time again. Is this going to be pole, or are we going to see another lap time set here? However, we do see that McLaren once again, who we have seen quite a few times during this race of Galacto, just going into sector 3 now. We do see him just losing all of his time there going into the chicane. Doesn't seem to be working though for him just yet, so we'll have to see. It does seem he's losing quite a bit of lap time, as we did see a BMW there think it was. Get a bit loose there. I think he managed to recover it, as we do see though. Robert Cow we have seen a few times as well going into the back straight here before this huge chicane here going into sector 2. Does seem he takes it alright, doesn't get any entanglement of the car, around 3-ish tenths now. As we do see him now going into sector 2. Well, nearly sector 3 actually. Yeah, 3 tenths up. This will be quite the improvement if he can get it done. Possibly P6 if he can keep and maintain this lap time delta improvement, as it does seem. He is losing just the slightest amount of time here going into the final 5 minutes here of qualification here at Zolder for round 4. Do you also just see a bit of an improvement there from Ben Crick? It's not a lot, but it's definitely can be enough to shave down that gap between P1 and P2. So I'll have to keep an eye out on what those two cars do. As we do see Robert now crossing the line, 3 tenths up on his personal best lap time, and it does seem that's going to be quite an improvement there from P12, where it was to go into P5 here. It's a very good lap time there, mid 27 there, where most of the cars are in. To go further down the grid, we do see a few improvements here from Eric in the Amazon Racing, who we have seen a few times here going across the lap time. It does seem he's going to go up, and he goes up into P19. Provisionally 4 minutes left to go, or around 3 and a bit laps. Seeing though, trying to find if any other car is improving at the moment. Does seem that we do see Michael Austin is improving going into this very sketchy chicane, as I always say. Just have to continue seeing if he can actually manage any sort of lap time here. Just seem a lot of the cars are pulling over, trying to get one final lap in with some fresher tyres here. Just have to see if they manage to actually set another lap time. As we do see though, Freddie is on the edge of getting another lap time in, and hopefully improving a few more positions for himself. About 3 tenths, does have traffic in front. Hopefully the traffic doesn't do anything, as we do see Daniel Montoro as well behind. So we'll have to see if anything does happen between these 3, but it does seem they are going to maintain quite a safe distance for each other. However, we have just seen Freddie just back out of the lap after being about 3 tenths up on his personal best lap time. So quite confusing why he has done that. So you do see Lacto has just unfortunately done the dead, as it says in his name. It does seem that he has got car back up and running here. Obviously, we do see Michael Austin as well, as we saw earlier, improving 4-ish tenths on his personal best lap time here going into the second chicane. Now we do see him lose a tiny bit of time there, but gains a bit more on the exit, about 5 tenths, but this will be quite enough to hopefully put himself up into P4, P3 if he can materialise this lap time. About 5 tenths now for him going into the final hairpin there, well, the only hairpin, luckily. Does seem he is losing a tiny bit of time. It's very fractional how much he's losing, but it could be crucial for position share. It does seem he brakes quite late there, improving quite a bit, about a tenth going into the first part of the chicane. Loses a tiny bit, but manages to secure most of the lap time. This will be enough for him to go into P3 here with 27.2 from Michael Lawson. That will probably be his final lap of the day for him, as it's very good lap time there from him. However, we do see going further down into the grid, Vink is obviously in that test Aston Martin livery, down in P12 at the moment, but is 2.5 tenths or so up on his personal best lap time. We'll have to see if he can actually get it, as I say a lot, materials a lap time Does seem he does go a bit faster going through the chicane. Is it going to be enough at all to try and think of going full push through this final chicane? Does seem he is losing a tiny bit of time there going into the chicane. So I was about to say gaining a bit of time, but it does seem we lost a tiny bit of time there. But on the exit as well, lost a tiny bit of time. This will be quite a significant improvement as well. Obviously, these cars here are very, very bunched up in the grid, very close between each other in lap times. However, we did see Vink unfortunately having an invalidation somewhere in his previous lap, which did cause him not to go up or down a position. Final lap here for Vink, as we do see him going into sector 1 near sector 2. Just over a tenth now up on his personal best lap time. The same, he is going to improve. But did it? Was that an out? It didn't seem like it was an out. I'm just looking on my other monitor, but it doesn't seem it was. 2 tenths now for Vink. It does seem he is going to lose a tiny bit of time there going through the chicane. Very dodgy if you get it wrong, as we have seen in previous races. As it does seem he cuts quite a bit there. Is that going to be an invalidation there? We did see him cut quite a bit of time going through that chicane. Obviously, you can get very greedy going with that chicane, which has caused track limit warning. Tonight is the most prone place where people do get drive-throughs, and obviously the pit lane isn't also very forgiving as well. So we'll have to see if these two are going to be able to do anything between them both. But it does seem now going into the final chicane is going to be about 2.5 tenths up on his personal best lap time. However, again, the exit on the chicane is crucial. Does seem he takes it too much sausage curve, loses a tiny bit of time. Can he race it to the line to try fight the delta? It seems he does. Goes up into P11, unless any of his rivals can go up any more positions. However, we have just seen Bellic as well just take that I think it was P12 there, well P11 it would have been, from Vink, and put himself into P11. Very good there as we go into what is now race conditions here. Obviously, it's very dark track here, as it is. So I'm just going to quickly get ourselves ready. It's obviously already 5 AM race start here, so very early morning, only an hour race though. Obviously pit stops are mandatory for tyres, and most likely you may as well just do fuel at the same time. Do you see Paul Kirkby, sorry. Reading is not my strong point today, it seems, or any day. Saying speed, welcome on in. I didn't see you in the race, or am I just tripping? I think I am just tripping. I think you were in the last race, weren't you? I can't remember now. Does seem now. Can just do a quick grid walk, as we do have a tiny bit of time here. So we will just go on. Obviously, it's quite the dark track here, so we'll have to see if anything will happen here. Obviously, vision is going to be limited here, as we are just going to get. Obviously, I don't have any intermission stream scenes, so we'll have to just stick with what we've got now in each other. That's fair, as we do see here Vil in first place here, followed there by seems to be up instead of Ben Cricket, which is Philip Popelia there, followed there by Ben Crick, who was in provisional pole for a while, and then Vil took it back from him. Followed there by Michael Lawston there, with Simic just behind that in the Ferrari, followed by the Aston Martin, not the Aston Martin, the Audi there of Adam Long, then followed by Olavi, or Robert Olavi, and then followed then by the car we have seen quite a bit of improvement there by is Ivo, and then followed once again there by the Porsche, the 33. Going further back there, Vilek, and we also see Vink as well. So two cars that have been battling quite a bit in previous races. We'll have to just see if they manage to get, as we do see plus 15. I think that is a success penalty from last time, or other kind of penalties, as we do see Ed and then Bella as well in the McQueen livery there, followed by Dean in the Mortal Kombat livery. And going further back, as we do see Bajic, then followed by Freddie as well, then followed by Daniel Montero in the BBS Porsche, and also followed in P19 here by the Ferrari of the 34, and followed closely by Chris Broadman, and then Magiro in the Amazon Racing, there, followed there by Brogan. And then to finish up the top 23 is Malak Cusack. And then we go further back as we do see, I think it's Tim Week. They're in the McLaren there, as we do see other cars as well. But I don't know if we'll have enough time to finish this, as we do see, going further back, we do see the E3 there of, I think that's Itri. I'm sorry if I said that wrong. It's there we've got the only Porsche cap in the race there of Seata, followed closely there by I think it's Jeffrey Witter. Trying to remember names here. This is really for my test of getting names right. It's followed there by a name that isn't actually important in my game, and then followed by RS. As it does seem the cars are starting to go crazy here. 20 seconds left. This race obviously followed by a few cars that are straddled at the backs of the grid there. So we'll have to just see how it goes for them. As it does seem we are about to go green here for the formation lap. We'll just have to see if any of these cars have issues on the formation laps, as I've been able to spin it on the formation lap during a 24-hour race, which isn't my proudest of moments, but I've definitely done it. As we do see the cars are starting to roll here. Quite a short lap here. Zolder, I think a minute 26 per lap, so we will see definitely about maybe I'm trying to think, maybe 50 laps here from Zolder. Definitely a narrow track, so racing can be a bit difficult around this track. Again, held up by blue flags can also definitely happen, because there's not many overtaking opportunities to let people through as well. Obviously you've got the few smaller straights to let people through, and there's not many overtaking dive bomb opportunities, which is probably lucky. Yeah, punter pass, that's exactly what I would do. Don't brake. Let's see, no, all of these cars are very, well, very colourful, shall we say. Every car should have their lights on, otherwise that will be a penalty. Plus, I think that is just a bit stupid. If you don't have your lights on, you won't be able to see absolutely anything here. The car's trying to preserve the heat in their tyres from the tyre blankets. Obviously, it's a 9-degree track temperature, so definitely the colder ones here. As next race is also going to be Monza, but the plot twist with Monza, if it wasn't already a plot twist enough, is it's a storming condition Monza, so it's going to be a fully wet race. So it's definitely going to be the trickier race. As I'm going to emphasize what Greg Ellis said, it should stay dry. Should. So there is potential for rain, but obviously it might not happen. Obviously it's cloudy as well, so we might definitely see rain as well. We just have to continue on back on board with the leader now, going into the final straight here before the final chicane here. Do you just see though, every car is now lining up here for the start. Obviously this straight is not long, so obviously the start is crucial here. So we are very close here to going green here for round 4 of the PLR World Tour Mondays here, as we are now green here, as every car is now rolling, as we do see 3 wide already at the back there. It seems 4 wide might be possible going as we go further back. It does seem everyone has got through cleanly so far. A bit of a bump there from someone to Vink, so it seems everyone has got through cleanly for the first corner, but obviously every corner is very sharp here. It does seem we're going to go back on board with the leader for a second. It seems the leader is getting away, but it seems Ville has lost the position there from Philip there, but it does seem also now under pressure here from Ben Crick as well. So we'll have to see what happens going side by side here, going into the second straight here. So we do see a few cars going wide there. Seems a lot of rowdiness here. It seems Ville manages to keep it. However, the chicane is very unpredictable, as it does seem that Ben Crick does take a lot of the line there going through there. It does seem he is going to keep it though for now. Ville to go further back, as we do see an incident has occurred there. Some slow cars there. Obviously that chicane is very difficult to get right, and everyone's got to go slower and everyone's got to bump into the back of you, as we do see Ed as well losing a few positions there. Michael Lawson as well, and Freddie also both trying to get past. Does seem another few straddlers here going into the chicane. This chicane has been wild, actually. I wouldn't think, obviously, such a narrow chicane, as we do see now on board with Itchy. Unfortunately, a victim during this. It does seem he just goes through the first part of the chicane, gets tapped there from the McLaren behind, and it seems Dean as well in the Mortal Kombat collectors has been collected in that incident as well, so it's not very good for both of those. Hopefully they can get it back, as we do see, unfortunately, another car going slow, but we will go back with the actual racing here, as we do see Drazen in the Suzuki Racing McLaren managing to get the inside line there of the first part of the chicane. However, the Porsche does have it there with the Browski, and it does seem it's got to be a drag race here to the line, and it does seem now that Drazen does just keep it for now. It does go here for the inside line. However, there is a switch back there, and it does seem Dabrowski's got to try to go for the inside line, and it does seem it works. And now going side by side, as there is a bit of looser, as we do see Seata as well in the Porsche Cup car is trying to get past as well. However, we do see Drazen is just still in front of this battle, so hopefully he can try hold off these cars from behind. However, we do see Freddie just trying to get past it. Oh, Chris Broadman, sorry, trying to get past it. Freddie pulling out a tiny bit. Doesn't seem to work though in Broadman's favour, as Vink though is still going side by side here into the chicane with Ivo. Seems to get it done. However, Ivo is fighting back here going into the final part of the chicane. Obviously Vink does have the inside line here going into the final part of that chicane, and does seem to work though in Ivo's favour for the time being, so we'll have to keep an eye out again on those two drivers. Going further down, further up, we do see a battle for the lead here. Felipe has lost the position once again there to Vil, and Vil's also going to try to get past here, but Ben Crook actually in the lead. Actually, I keep getting those two cars run, so Ben Crook will have to try get a tiny bit of position here. This is going to be a huge battle for the lead. It seems Michael Lawson is also trying to get involved with this, going on the wing here, as we do see these three cars are just trying to get past them. We do see the Ferrari there trying to get past them. Simic is just putting a lot of pressure here on Michael Lawson. Michael Lawson also trying to attack at the same time, so just trying to balance all of that. Seems Michael Lawson is in a bit of a safe space for the time being, as we do go further down. Do see a bit more battling here. Freddie getting a bit of pressure here from Ed. Car we've seen quite a few times during this race. Does seem it's not going to work for him. However, Seata is going to try to get past Anthony Fox. It seems he does have the inside line for both of these corners now, corner 2 and 3. It seems he gets past. However, he is on the grass. It's going to unsettle the car a tiny bit, nearly going to the Ferrari, but manages to keep the position now. Conrad up into P22. Going further up in the grid though, we do see again for the battle for the lead, it does seem Ben Crook and Vil both manages to get past Philip for the time being. Will he be able to do some sort of retaliation point, as we do see Michael Lawson is also under a lot of pressure here from Simic for P4. So it does seem Simic does have the pace advantage for the time being, as I also do see a tiny bit of a side by side there from Alexander. Doesn't seem to work just yet though going into this straight. Obviously it's not a big enough straight for any sort of slipstream, but obviously it goes into a very easily diveable chicane, as we just saw that. I was just kind of predicting what was going to happen there. It did seem it was going to be enough room between both of them, so no incident there. As we do see Michael Lawson going to pull out there of Philip, getting the inside line here. It does seem it's not going to work just yet in Michael's behalf, so we'll have to see if he can put any sort of pressure on. Actually, now he's under pressure here from Simic as well, so obviously this is going to be a few battles in one. Seems obviously, unfortunately, Dean has lost quite a few positions there. Obviously was quite close for the battle of the lead at one point in Valencia last race for round 3. As we do see though, going further back, we do see Adam Long is putting quite a bit of pressure there on Simic as well. Simic seems to go to try and get for a bit of a juke move there on Simic. Didn't seem to work. Loses quite a bit of time now and is under a lot of pressure there from Kukovic behind as well. Does seem though he's got to go side by side though, going into the final straight of sector 2. It does seem he gets it done. He's going to lunge it into the chicane. Does seem to work though in his favour, and it seems he goes up into P5, but however is Simic going to take that for the time being? Obviously we will see people pitting quite early in this race, as some people's strategies are different to other people's. To go further down again, as we do see Dean trying to gain his positions. He unfortunately lost, going here with E3 Racing of Itri Choose the Lamborghini now. To seem Dini is got the pace advantage, but quite the time here. About a second and a half between these two cars, as we do see another freeway battle as well behind them as we go into the final 54 minutes of this race now. Final 10ish minutes have been quite insane so far. So at least as it does seem Dean is going to try to put a lot of pressure there on Itchy. Goes, forces the outside line here of the chicane, brakes quite late. Tried to go for a switchback. It seems he still has the overspeed there, and it seems there's going to be contact there between Itchy and Dean. Dean goes up into P29 now, so he's still trying to get, basically trying to do a last to first, but very unintentional. Does seem George Rally Staz is going to try and get past as well of Itchy. That's not Itchy, that's a Ferrari, but it does seem he is losing a few positions there, but obviously all of the grids aren't very accurate. Obviously they get updated per sector. Ben Crick obviously in the lead here, but these two Bentleys have been battling from both races now, as it does seem now Vil is starting to gain quite a bit of time here on Ben Crick. Ben Crick obviously having the fastest lap time so far, but obviously Vil was held up last lap and the lap before with other traffic to try and get past and get his move done. So this is where we will see Vil's pace spike. Obviously this is where the tyres are at probably its optimum stage. Obviously it's 9 degrees, so the tyres are never going to be at an optimum stage. So we do see, obviously these are probably, I'm going to say, friendly cars and teammates in a way, as it does seem Vil is also very close there to the back of Ben Crick, but loses quite a bit of time there into the end of the chicane there. So it's still about 5/10 between them two, so we'll have to see if both of these drivers can actually keep it up between each other, or is Ben Crick going to manage to try fall away here. It seems Vil does have the fastest lap time now of a 1:28.1. So definitely some lap times improvements, as we do see Bella trying to go on the inside of Vink. Doesn't seem to work just yet, as he's got to try and get the switchback going into turn 2. Does seem he has the switchback, has the inside line now into turn 3. Is it going to work for him just yet? It does seem he has managed to get it, but it does seem the nose of the Vink is still out. So going into turn 4 now, it's going to be side by side once again, going in the straight before the chicane. Obviously this chicane is very even playing ground here in terms of the line. However, we do see Vink is in the easier car here for this chicane, but loses quite a bit of time there, as it seems we just go further back down here, and we do see Freddie again putting pressure on Balek. Doesn't seem to work yet in anyone's favour. However, we do see Vil getting ever so closer here and might try to make some sort of dive bomb soon to try gain his ever earned position during qualification here. Very close between each other. It seems so Ben Crick does get the better advantage of the traction here. However, we do see Vil has the slipstream, but this is a very short straight here, but we do see him pull out there trying to go very late light lunge there. It does put Ben Crick off a tiny bit there, but it does seem Vil lost quite a bit of time there, but will he gain it back in a few turns to go? This is going to be the closest battle on track for very good reason here. This is the battle for the lead. Very unforgiving battle if it goes wrong. Seems though Ben Crick is doing quite a good job under pressure here. It does seem he is losing a bit of time there to Vil. Vil obviously who has the fastest lap time so far. Obviously they're running probably similar setups as well. So we do see Vil absolutely cheeses that chicane and absolutely goes up in lap time between those two. Does seem now he's right all over the back there of Vil. It doesn't seem to be, obviously it's not the easiest track to try to get past. Seems like Ben Crick is increasing the gap. It's still 5/10, so it's maintained its gap, but obviously it's fluctuated a few. Further down there, Freddie again trying to put pressure here on Blelek. We have seen before. Blackick even, sorry. See, the track's still fast. It will probably go to optimum during the end of the race. However, we do see going in the Amshire, Does seem Dean is still trying to get past here, gaining these positions. This will be for P25 going side by side. Lexus with Lexus going to the chicane. Very even playing ground here, both the same machinery. And it does seem though Mario just let Dean get by here. So Dean is making some good progress here, currently in P25. So very good there for all of these cars, as we do see Freddie though as well trying to get up into P13. Obviously unlucky for some. Seems to work, yeah, as we do see Vale and Ben Crook both make a bit of contact there going into the chicane. Doesn't seem anyone lost any time there or position. So very good save there from Ben Crook, and so it's still in the same. This is very intense battle here. This could end in tears. These two battling extremely hard here. Obviously Ben Crook isn't cracking under pressure yet, but it does seem Vil is marginally faster, so it's just trying to keep on the back of him. Obviously we have the pit stops, will definitely make quite a big play in this race as well. 30-second-ish pit stop obviously for tyres, and obviously you have to include the driver of the pit lane as well. Seems Ben Crook is losing some time, but it's not too much time. It's still about 5/10, again maintaining quite a reasonable gap between those two. As we do see Freddie is going to lunge the inside line here going into turn 1. It does seem Black does lose the position but gets the overspeed there. It's going to be a bit of retaliation there from Blackkick, and it does seem Freddie does just get a bit looser, and it seems Blackkick does just keep his position for the time being there. A tiny bit of contact that did cause Freddie to nearly spin out, just unsettling the car. Danny Montero trying to put some pressure here on Vink as well. See, will they be able to get past? It does seem the pace advantage is in Montero's favour, just by about 2/10 though, so it's not much between them two. So they are playing in very fair pace ground here now between them both. Do just see though, Danny loses quite a bit of time there to Vink, so we'll have to continue watching if that bar does increase or decrease in time. However, we have just seen Siata unfortunately spin there going into the chicane. Going to see what happened there. It does seem Porsche isn't really in a close proximity to any car, but it does seem the sausage curb just unsettled that car, which caused him to spin and lose a position, and he had to do a 3-pointer turn as well, so he lost position there, which is going to be unfortunate for him, and he's lost quite a bit of time between him and P22. Going further down, we do see Victor as well putting a lot of pressure there on that Lexus. The Lexus hasn't had a very easy race so far. She in the pet racing account, we do see the pace advantage is very much so in Victor's favour instead of Mario, as we do see now going across the line. Is it going to be any sort of retaliation here from Mario? It doesn't seem to be so just yet, so we'll have to see what happens. Obviously this is an AM vs Pro class, so we do expect Victor to try get past, obviously safely but also efficiently. Doesn't want to lose too much time. Obviously he was collected in the spin such an incident as we saw earlier. As we do see these two cars are absolutely going at it, as it does seem he does have the overspeed here going into turn 4. It does seem he's going to go all over the back of him going into the straight. Does just back out a tiny bit here going into the straight before the chicane. Is he going to try go for a dive bomb there? It does seem he's going to try dive bomb, but doesn't seem to work just yet. Mario placing his car in a very easy way there to try keep himself in the lead of this battle. Obviously he's gaining on the Porsche of the Pro ski as well, so he's trying to gain more and more time here. Wants to try gain P26 as well on pace as we go into the final 44 minutes of this race now. Does seem no. Victor is going to try duke himself out a tiny bit. Doesn't seem to work just yet. He does go for a bit of late break move there, and since Mario does just let the move happen there, Victor does just go up into P27 now, as we do see now Dabrowski's add a bit of pressure here from Victor to try to get past. However, we do see Victor is on fire here, having a bit of contact between both of them. This is going to be a side-by-side drag race here going into Turn 1, it seems he does lose a tiny bit of time there, but it does seem he has got to try and gain it all back. Going into turn 1 to go side by side, it does seem Dabrowski lets the move happen there. Obviously, two different classes fighting for position. Obviously, they don't have to let him go because it's for position in the race, but probably easier to let it go, as it does seem though Ben Crook is trying to make a bit of a gap for himself between him and Vil. However, the gap in best lap times between them both is quite a large gap. It's about 3/10 between them both in favour of Vil of a 127.8. It's now going into about the second, so there is no slipstream effect. Obviously, this track isn't very good for slipstream, of course. So we do see Ben Crook is starting to gain a bit of gap for himself. It's to go and see though Freddie is starting to put some pressure there on Daniel Montero here for P12. Is there going to be any sort of teamwork here, because obviously both of these are in the same other league, and I think they're both admins in the same league as well. Daniel Montero also obviously owning that league, so we'll have to see if there's any sort of teamwork between those two. Further up though, we do see Bella again. We've seen quite a bit putting some pressure on either there. Just back here, as it does seem the gaps are starting to separate a bit. Obviously, this is a track more people don't know than people who do know. See, Michael Lawson is starting to gain a bit of a time between himself and the McLaren of Philip. Does just seem though a few cars are still battling. Obviously, we have this huge gap between these cars here. It's not too big of a gap, but it is quite a big packet of cars, so the gap is fluctuating. See, we have just seen Ben Crook starting to pull away here from Vil here. 1.5 seconds ish now between these two, so it's definitely starting to increase. But is Vil going to be able to do some magic and pull back some pace, or is he trying to preserve a tiny bit of pace now? You see, there is quite a big gap between those two cars. Obviously, Vil has the pace advantage at the moment with the purple the purple lap. So at the 39-minute mark now of this race, we do see a few cars have pitted. You can see P35 and P36 both have pitted, but we do see here Wokter also trying to put some pressure there on Robert Jennings. Looks like he is going to have the slipstream. It's not going to be the biggest slipstream here. Unfortunately, he has lost quite a bit of time there going into that chicane. Gains quite a bit of time though going into the chicane, and right over the back of this Lamborghini here. Gonna try going into... Seems he's just going all over the place here on Robert Jennings. I'm pretty sure Robert Jennings is going to start feeling a tiny bit scared. Yeah, but it seems he manages to gain a bit of time here between these two. So we do just see them both going back at it. So we do just see though the gaps are increasing. But however, we do see once again Brogan is trying to put some pressure there on Blekik, a car that hasn't had a break at all during this race. Obviously leading this little pack of cars. We do see 59 in the grades here at P15 and 14. Do you just see though, it seems either has spun there. What has actually happened there? We go back, we do see a rewind here going into the chicane. I presume he's taken too much curb and unsettled the car. Does seem to be the issue there. Hasn't held his brakes, and he does unfortunately just slightly hit the wall there, and it has caused him a tiny bit of damage there, unfortunately. We do see though Greg Ellis going side by side here with what seems to be Simic here going into the final corners before the end of the straight and nearly the end of the lap as well. So we do see them drag racing here, same machinery going into chicane, as it does seem Simic does have the inside line for the first part. It seems he has just made it work here out. We do see Greg Ellis all over the back of him still going into this. Of course, it seems though these three cars are going to just be working quite hard to try keep and maintain the gap between each other, as we do see further back down. We did see an unfortunate yellow flag. Don't know what happened there. Unfortunately, can't get a replay on it. So we do see, I think it was Robert Arlavi who unfortunately did spin, goes into the pit lane now. So we do see the first few upcomers of pits. We have seen about 5 or 6 cars now pitted already here, approaching the halfway mark of the race. We do see this is where most cars will start the pit. So we do go further up. Michael Austin is going at it with each other, as we do see what I think that's traffic there, fortunately. But there was a side by side there, but it does seem that that was going to be traffic already, as we do see Michael Austin is getting closer to Philip here for the podium slot here for the Xaileron Prime Forza Harvey livery. We'll be all over the back of him here, but it seems it's not going to work just yet in his favour. He might have to wait a few laps before trying to make any sort of move on him. But it is very close between each other now. See, though, these cars are starting to maintain the gap, as we were saying earlier. We did see Brogan getting very close though to another car, but it does seem he's lost quite the gap there, unfortunately, to Ivo. Ivo unfortunately not having the most unfortunate of signs. We have just seen Chris Broadman going slow there. Not sure why he's going slow there, unless he's letting traffic by. So what caused the yellow flag, as it seems he isn't. I think he is just letting some cars go there. Obviously he has pitted already, I think. Yeah, Chris has pitted, as we do see quite a few people are starting to pit now. This is why we do see the breakup of the cars, as we do see Crook still in the lead with about 1.7 seconds of a gap, 1.8 seconds of a gap between both of them. To P3 it's about 12.6, so it's very close between them two, but very far between P3. Trying to go side by side here with traffic. Benkrick trying not to lose any time he can, or as little time as he can. As we do see Vink is in the wall there. It seems that is another victim of the chicane here. It's going to be unfortunate. Just takes a lot of curb there going into the wall. Unfortunately, quite a light tap, so he might be fine there. Did also see Freddie almost did the same thing there, unsaddling his BMW as well, but managed to save his car. Does seem Vil is starting to pick up the pace a tiny bit, losing Benkrick losing about 4 tenths between him and Vil, so we will have to see if these two cars are going to start another little bout between them two, but we'll have to see what happens there. Going further down in the field, Greg Ellis is starting to put again pressure here on Simic. Is just going to try and just stay behind him for the time being as we go on board here with Simic to see if Greg Ellis gains any sort of time here on him. It goes very wide there, it seems. Simic gaining quite a bit of time there in that fast left, well, fast right-hander here all over the back of him. Going into this little mini straight here, it seems Greg Ellis is going to try go side by side here. Going into the chicane, thinks better of it, and now there is a bit of a gap between them both. Is Greg Ellis going to try and gain that time back going into the chicane? Obviously this is chicane where you can brake very late, as we have just seen Greg Ellis broke quite late there, which is going to cause him to gain quite a bit of time. As we have just seen, that seems like to be a McLaren that has gone off there, and I think that is going to be the McLaren. Oh no, that's Daniel Montoro. It's unfortunately also gone off as well. We'll have to see what's happened there. Seems he's got back there. I think another victim of the unfortunate curb, but managed to get back going very quickly. As however, we do see this, it's starting to brew here between these three, these five, should we say, as we do see there's going to be side by side here. Adam Long going here with the Porsche, but it seems the Porsche does go into the pits here to try and not lose as much time as possible. Seems though Benkrick is starting to gain some traction in his time here, doing a 27.9 with his last lap, which is his best lap here. So we do see around 2 tenths here between both of these cars. We have just seen the 27.745 here from Vil as well, so it's starting to get quite close in lap times between them both. It seems Benkrick is starting to be the more consistent driver, but losing some time in different areas, as we do see Brogan has unfortunately spun it there, and that doesn't seem to be a chicane issue there. So we do see going side by side here with the BMW. It does seem the BMW is going to give him room, but she just clips him a tiny bit going side by side there into turn one. It's going to be unfortunate there for Brogan, as he's now down into P10, but it seems the BMW did let him by, which is very good there. So we do just go back up, and we do just see, though, unfortunately, we see Mario trying to get closer to the pro ski. We have seen these people been battling for a while as we hit the dead mark of this, with a dead halfway point now of this race. Going further up though, we do see Philip losing a few positions now from what he was originally all the way up in pole for a few laps. Unfortunately down now into P4. Michael Lawson reigning at the moment, taking a bit of time here. However, we do see Adam Long putting a lot of pressure here going into the pit lane, trying to overtake in the pit lane. Would have been the first to see for me that, as they both go in the pit lane here. So it's all about nailing the pit lane speed and just a pit stop in general here going into this track. As we do see, unfortunately, it seems Malakaus has unfortunately gone off somewhere, and it seems he might have had a disconnect. No, he hasn't. It just seems there was a yellow flag for some reason. Simic though all over the back here of Freddie once again. Simic, who has just pitted, so also has Freddie. So he's currently in what we would say is net P4. But it does seem Freddie is losing quite a bit of time here from Renato. So we'll have to see if he can, going into sector 3, think of making any sort of move here. Doesn't seem at the moment he is going to try to. Does seem though he's got to try to go side by side here. It does seem the Porsche gets in the way a tiny bit there, causes Simic to lose a tiny bit of time there, but it does seem he's got to try to go side by side here going into the chicane. Simic does think better of it and just stays behind here, but does get a bit of traction here going onto the final straight, and it does seem he is losing a tiny bit of time though. It does seem Freddie has the better top speed between these two and the acceleration. Simic though obviously has a bit of cornering speed in that Ferrari. Does seem he is just going to stay right now and just stay in P16 for himself, just trying to contain himself, as Broski is also has just entered the pit lane as well as Too Weak as well. So we do see a few guys who haven't pitted yet, as we have just seen Ben Crick has gone into the pit here, same with Vil, so they are definitely on the same strategy here. We will actually just stay on board with them, as I do want to see who comes out of the pit first, because obviously there is a bit of a gap between them both. As you can see both of them in the pit here, this is all about nailing the pit stop here, if they're going to do full fuel, half fuel, but obviously they both have to take tyres. So this is something we're going to have to be just very cautious about. It does seem Ben Crick is let go here, but we haven't seen Vil has been released yet, so we'll have to see. However, Vil has been released now. This is going to be very close between both of them. It seems, oh, that's going to be an issue there for Ben Crick. It seems Vil has just gotten past in the pit lane there. That's what we call a good undercut there by Vil. This is where we're going to start to see some raging facials here by Ben Crick, so we'll have to see if there was a mistake in the pit lane. That will be another issue that has been caused, unless they're on different strategies, so one might be a tiny bit quicker there. Seems Ben Crick now is down into P2, and we do see Vil is into P1. I'm talking of net position here, as obviously we do see Greg Ellis and Brogan both in P1 and P2 at the moment. That's because they both haven't pitted here. As you can see on the timing tower there, that one means they haven't pitted, as we have just seen Greg Ellis has entered the pit lane now. So that was quite interesting there, as we did see quite a good stop there from Vil. I did predict he might do quite a good pit stop, as he has done in previous races there, and he manages to stay back here, as it seems Ben Crick though is going to try put some pressure there on Vil to try get his position back that he was leading for quite the time. Does seem they're going further back, and I think there might be a bit of a battle here. It does seem though Simic is still trying to put some pressure out on Freddy. Isn't seeming to be working yet, going into the second chicane. So it's just taking it very wide there, going to chicane. Doesn't seem it's going to work though just yet in Simic's favour. Freddy just trying to keep the pressure out of him. Just getting closer there to Freddy. Now Simic's all over the back here of Freddy, so we'll have to see if there's going to be any sort of movement in position here between these two. It seems Simic is going to try go for a move. No, he's not going to try go for a move yet, but that is probably for the best. Simic is gaining quite a bit of time now through Sector 3. Sector 1, he loses a bit of time there to Freddy. So I have to continue seeing if these two battle for a longer period of time. Will they do any sort of move? Robert, though, is getting closer there. So, every other car is starting to lose some time here, apart from Victor, who has done quite an insane recovery drive so far, putting some pressure there on Seattle in that Porsche Cup car. Obviously, the Porsche Cup car is quite similar to the GT3 in pace, just has no traction controls, might be quite screwed going into Monza next race, so we'll have to see if he's actually going to be racing here, as he goes very wide there, swerves out there going into the chicane. Now it does seem to get some move done for now. Adam Longlow is getting quite again closer there to Philip, so we'll have to see if these two cars will be making another battle soon. It does seem though he is gaining quite a bit of time there on Philip going into the first few corners here, but loses a tiny bit of time there going into the third corner. It's not going to be enough just yet to try think of making a move, but we'll have to just see go into the final 20-ish minutes of this race now. Getting closer though to the McLaren now. Philip, it's not going to be just enough yet. Right, think again, as I said earlier, to make a move. However, we do see Dino is going to go side by side here with Chris Broadman for P18. It's going to be side by side going into the straight before the end of sector 2 now. That's the inside line of the chicane. Seems Chris Broadman lets go. Seems he goes on the gravel a tiny bit there. Re-enters a bit unsafely, but it seems Dean does get the position now for P18. Is making very remarkable recovery so far, as we do see Adam Long that was losing a tiny bit of time there to Philip. Just have to see. But they're all over the back though of Malakukas. Wait, Malakukas, as we do see Ivo though as well trying to go side by side here with Blekik. It doesn't seem to work yet, as it does seem Blekik does go wide. It goes on the gravel, which lets Ivo through. Now that's not going to be very happy there for Blekik. He's just given the position weight for free, as we do see though. Robert is getting closer though, very closer to the Aston Martin in front of him. As you can see, he is losing a tiny bit of time. It's not too much time, as I said earlier, but the times in general are very close intertwined with each other. Though starting to lose time to Ville. This is how the table has turned. As we did see Ben Crook gaining quite a bit of a gap to Ville, and now it's the other way around. Is that going to be the case though for any longer? We'll have to see. But it does seem though Ville is starting to pick up the pace now over 27.3, as we also have seen though Ben Crook very close behind with a 27.4. Adam Long is going to get closer to Philip, but it's not still enough to try think of going for it just yet. All of these drivers are bunched up again, as I said earlier, in a few cases, but some cars are very much in no man's land. We do see Dean now trying to get here for P17. Very quick driver here, Dean. Usually fighting for the podium, but unfortunately had a bit of a contact on the first lap, as now he is going to try and get this move done here on what was the what still is the pole position of class right here of the other affiliate. This time it's Morna. Have I been getting two names wrong? I think I have. No, they are just the same name. Okay. Felipe is just going to lose the position here. It might be trying to gain the position though on that Porsche. Porsche obviously could get in the way here of Dean. Loses a tiny bit of time there in his scenario, but you just see though Brogan also up the road there from the McLaren, so this could be a freeway battle starting to brew. 80 minutes left of this race. We do see Dean gained a lot of time there trying to go side by side. Does seem he just gains a lot of time but loses it to try not go in the back of Felipe, but it does seem he does go for a bit of a Duke swerve there going into the first corner. Doesn't seem to work though. Felipe did not fall for it. So we do just see here as well, we do see Robert also putting some pressure here on Augustus as well in the international racing time team. Aston Martin. And Coco is starting to gain some time there on Ville, but still not too much time as Ben Crick has taken the fastest lap of the race here. These two drivers have been at it all race so far. This is how we've seen very close timings here, about 3,000th about 3 to 4,000th of a second between the fastest lap of Ben Crick of a 27.345 and Ville of a 127.380. So this is where it starts to get interesting here. Seems Ben does gain so much time there going into that corner, but obviously had the traffic as well. That's not going to help. Going for a bit of a lunge there going into chicane isn't going to work just yet. Gains a bit of time there. Obviously you can take a lot of curb there in that Bentley going into that chicane. So we do see though losing a ton of time, but braking a bit later to go into this wider chicane where you can abuse track limits quite a bit. Doesn't work just yet in Ben Crick's favour. The moment he is just going to stay back, as it does seem Ben Crick is going to make a huge lunge there. Doesn't seem to work though, as we do see the Lamborghini of Robert Jennings getting in the way there of Ben Crick. It seems he has lost a bit of time now. Obviously 60 minutes of the race left to go. Ville has to try gain as much time as he can going into this. Obviously these two Bentleys are very close in pace. Chris Broadman, no, that's not Chris Broadman, so Victor is also losing a bit of time after Tim Week there. He starts swerving around trying to make Victor a bit nervous. That doesn't seem to work though. Going into chicane, it seems Victor has also gained quite a bit of time there to Tim Week. It seems now it is going to make that gap of slipstream a bit more difficult to get. So it does seem it's going to be just a cloudy race for the rest of this race now. No chance of rain, unfortunately for us. You know, 40 minutes now of this race, the gap is starting to become more and more. Well, the battle is starting to become more and more intense as we do see these two cars are starting to well at it, but has no pressure from behind here. So Ben Crick doesn't have to worry about defensing, as it seems Michael Lawson is around 22 seconds behind him, which is quite crazy. As we do see, unfortunately, it seems the Aston Martin of Eric has spun there, and I wonder if that's something to do with the chicane. You're going into the chicane, obviously very brutal if you take it wrong. Seems goes flying there, bounces to chicane of the suspension of the Aston Martin, and it does just cause him to spin around. You see Adam Longlow is getting closer and closer there to Philip. still not enough. It's about a car length between them both, so we'll have to just see if these two cars are going to be at it between both of them for the rest of the race here. 13 minutes left of this race. We'll have to just see if any of their strategies can work for any of them. But what I see, there's still quite a few people in chat. I don't know how many people are racing and watching, as we do see Felipe trying to go with a lunge there, going into the first chicane. Doesn't seem to work though. How many people in chat are watching? What are your predictions? Obviously, going into the last 10-ish minutes of the race, anything can still happen. It seems Ben Quick is starting to lose a tiny bit of time here. Do you think Bill will take the win, or do we see Ben Quick try to take the crown from him? So obviously they are very similar place in what we have seen in previous races. For Robert Alavi is also trying to put some pressure here on Gustas. It's not going to work just yet. Obviously 10 minutes left of this race, so we'll have to just see if any of these cars are going to start making any sort of moves on each other. At the moment it isn't going to work, as Ben Crick is also getting closer. So it's not too close between each other just yet, but we will have to see, because both of these cars are very capable drivers of doing very capable times, but it seems still Ben Crick does have the fastest lap time this race, so they are starting to get closer between each other. This has been the battle for quite some time. We'll have to see, but we do see Alavi is getting some time on Gustas as well, but loses a tiny bit going on the exit as well. And these are the only 3 battles on track here, unfortunately, so we'll have to just see what happens between these two. It seems Ben Crick does leave some time there to Ville, but still close enough to try and get a tiny bit of slipstream possible. Slipstream, obviously, as I've said earlier, isn't going to work too well in this case, as it's still a very, very short straight track. Dean once again doing this the first challenge. We didn't actually, unfortunately, he did have that incident, as I said earlier. Does seem he's trying to put some pressure there on Declan Brogan here, going into the straight. Is he going to try go for a move? No, he loses too much time here. This is where he's starting to encounter the silver drivers, Dean. This is where the more capable drivers, you could say, are more confident in the cars. Obviously, we've seen everyone pit here going into the final 9 minutes of this race now. It seems like Declan just goes extremely wide. I completely zoned out there, and it seems Dean just gets past easily, with ease there. That's going to be unfortunate for the broadcasting. 8 minutes left to go, and Dean is trying to gain as many positions as possible. Can he get to that unlucky number P13, as we've seen earlier? As we did see Blekic gain a bit of damage here. You can see that front end of that McLaren is quite damaged. So he spins out again there, so it could be a puncture issue as well. There, and that's going to be very unfortunate there for Blekic, but that could be another position gain there for Dean, who's very close there, just the other side of the straight that goes into the pit there. That is going to be enough damage to have the pit. You could see the light flickering there. That's going to put Dean going up into P13, basically a free position, you could say that. He seems he is going to collect the position now going onto the straight. So there we go now, as it does seem though he is trying to gain some time there on Olavi as well. This is two pro drivers fighting, so this is going to be quite interesting if he manages to gain any time, but it seems again the time is in favour of Dean, not by much. It's about 4/10, but it's still quite a big gap for a pacer in a race. However, we do see Chris Broadman though putting some pressure there. Tim Week close, but not close enough yet to try think of going for a move. Losing quite a bit of time there, Tom Week. I've been calling him Tim. I apologise. I've been mixing you up with another driver. Do you see? No, Max RS. So, I was going to say again, pressure there from. Whoa, that was a humongous crash there from what seemed to be. Wow. Seems like Jeffrey Whitted just trying to put some pressure there on Brogan there behind it. Doesn't seem to be working just yet in his favour, as it does seem Declan does just go very wide there, and it doesn't seem that was the actual incident there. That was a completely separate incident. That is unfortunate, because I wanted to see what happened there with that other car. Whoa, who was it? I assume it was Vink. As we go back 30 seconds to see if that is going to be where it is. So it seems you can just see him spinning there. It just seems he got loose with the car. It's not going to be very fun for him, you could say. So now we just have to wait for him in pit. See the other cars going in the pit. On the pit, sorry. Trying to put some pressure on other cars as well. It's not going to be enough for him just yet, but it is going to be still quite close between these two drivers as we see going into the final 5 minutes of this race. As you know, Olavi is going to try to go side by side here with. Because it's not going to work just yet. Going into the chicane, it does seem he leaps for it there, but we do see Dean as well trying to get this move done. Dean could get two positions here in one corner. It does seem he might try to get it done now. Dean is going side by side here with Robert here. It does seem it's going to work. He has the inside line of the chicane and gains two positions there, but it does seem Robert is going to try to do some retaliation here. So we also see Gustus as well, trying to get his position back here from Robert. Will this be a four-way battle here? As we see Robert does go very wide here, going into the corner. Does seem that Gustus is going to try and go with it. Is it going to be a free wide moment here, going into the happen? Seems Dean is very safe and sound here. Gustus unfortunately losing another position there from the McLaren there of Walter. It doesn't seem though he's going to try to do any sort of movement there. That was very, let's say, intense just in that few minutes as there. We do see Dean is absolutely crushing it at the moment, but I think this might be his final position unless he can gain 8 seconds in 3 minutes. Quite a big distance there. You can see vaguely the other car in front of him on the track map there going into turn 3, so quite position there, but he has just gained 5 tenths on him, so I'll never say never. Simic as well, though, putting some pressure there on Freddie as well, so we do see a few cars all battling again, trying to not get too impatient here going into the final 2 minutes of this race now. Seeing though Simic is going to put a lot of pressure here on Freddie going into this, going for a Duke mode, forcing the outside line here off the chicane, goes very wide there. Unfortunately, Simic is going to lose quite a bit of time there, and he just stays in the position he currently is in. Final minute and 50 now of this race. We do see, unfortunately, there has been unfortunate yellow flag incident here. What has happened here? It just seems he might have spun out there going on to the chicane. It's going to be unfortunate for him, just going very wide there, nearly taking Michael Lawson out as well. That's very unsafe rejoin there from him, unfortunately. Do also see though what happened here with George down in P31, going quite slow there. Manages to seem to recover the car and keep it running. As you see Simic once again putting pressure here on Freddie going into the final minute of this race. This is where we could see some interesting moves starting to happen here. Freddie is trying to defend for his life, however we do see Simic though trying to get some sort of move here done. It does seem he is going to try and go with the slipstream here. It doesn't seem to be working here. It seems there's not going to be enough traction here from Simic going through this straight. However we do see this is a very good opportunity here. This chicane very difficult to get done, but when you nail it, it's amazing, and you can gain so much time here in the car. It does seem Freddie does gain the time here in Simic going into the final lap. I think this is now for them, or the penultimate lap, one of the two. It seems though Ben Quick is about 1.6 seconds if anyone's curious from Ville, so it seems Simic now is just gaining a tiny bit of time here going into the end of sector 1 now. So Simic does dive it as it just seems barely final lap now from the leader, as it does just go across the line here, as it does seem Simic is all over the back here of Freddie. It does seem he is going to try to go for a move soon on Freddie Van's back. Oh, sorry, I said that completely wrong. It seems so. He is just going to lose a tiny bit of time there. Simic going very, very good through that corner. It seems Freddie does lose quite a bit of time there, but seems to manage to defend his place for the time being now. Going into the final chicane for the penultimate time now. Simic does just have the inside line going into the chicane, but doesn't seem to make the move. However, there might be a drag race here. It does seem Freddie did just have a bit of an unsettled moment there going into the chicane, as we do see now the traction is still in Freddie's favour, the acceleration as well. It does seem that Simic does gain a lot of time there. Obviously Freddie, all he has to do now is defend for himself for another 8 corners now going in. seem though these two cars are starting to have a bit of a distance between each other now. Is this going to be the final position, or are we going to see Simic become a bit impatient and try to do some more, let's say, hero moves? At the moment, going through the chicane, he does gain a lot of time there, but it doesn't seem to work yet. We do see once again already gaining quite a bit of time there on Simic. So we have just seen Vil finish a race here, but going through the final chicane here, it does seem Simic is going to lose a tiny bit of time here. Freddy is just trying to defend for his life here. It does seem he is just going to stay behind for the time being. Simic has only 3 corners to try and get this move done now. Braking a lot later, they're going into the hairpin. It does seem it's going to be, it might be a side-by-side going onto the straight here. Obviously, we have the slipstream here. It's not very strong. It's very short straight here. It does go. He goes for a tiny bit of a juke move. Doesn't seem to work there. Seems Simic is going to gain quite a bit of time. They're going into the final chicane. It does seem he's going to have the traction. It's going to try and go side-by-side here. It doesn't seem it's going to work. I'm afraid he's going to cross the line in P8 very close to that, and it seems he flashes his light. Simic in celebration as we do see the fireworks as well. Very good racing here from everyone today, as we do see a few people haven't finished the race yet, as we do see Tom Week as well going a bit wide there, going into chicane. Seeing that Chris Broadman is also trying to get involved with this to try getting a position on the final lap here. Chris Broadman all over the back there of Tom Week. Does he might try to go side by side here, going into the final straight for the chicane. Does seem to try going for the outside line, doesn't seem to work, and it seems Tom Week will stay in this position for the time being. It does seem that will be the case now. Seem everyone has finished the race now successfully, and I must say that has been quite the race today. Good people in the races. It does seem Vil did actually win the race, but it seems Vil has disconnected, and it does say, as you can see, that provisionally Ben Quick isn't in pole, and it is Vil who won the race. Very close between them both, and I'm going to call it off for the evening now. Very good to see everyone in chat who was here today, and very good to see everyone throughout the race. Have a great night. I have been Alex, or Ace if you commentate, and I will see you next time. Have a very great evening.